Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. So today, we have the next part of Call of Duty World at War. If you guys are enjoying this series, do drop a like, it does help the series out a lot. So let's do Little Resistance. Storm the white beach of Peleliu Island to make way for an allied takeover. Hardened.
Years after the raid on Macon, we're heading up an all-out assault on Peleliu Island. No POWs to rescue this time. Our mission? Take the airfield and cripple their supply network. Alongside familiar faces, fresh-faced recruits. The older guys like Miller, Sergeant Sullivan, and myself. We're known as the old breed. Old. We're not even out of our 20s.
When you really think about it, a lot of these guys were pretty young. Also, a lot of them were in their 20s.
It's time.
Good luck, all of you.
Also, another thing I will say, guys, is if you look at pictures of, like, World War II soldiers, for example, you won't believe that they're in their 20s. You look at their pictures, and it looks like they're in their 30s. They're not in their 20s, so why do they look like they're in their 30s if they're in their 20s? It was because back then, almost everyone smoked. So if you were a guy in the military, chances are you probably smoked. You know, this is very different back than today. The majority of people today don't smoke in the military. Yes, some people smoke in the military still, but back then, it was the vast majority of people smoked. And also, people drank more than they did today. And so because of that, people just aged faster. So that's why when you look at people from, like, pictures of people from, like, the 40s, the 50s, they look older than they actually are. It's because of those unhealthy habits.
This is it, Miller.
Okay, keep it together and we'll get through this in 3 days.
There they go. Bastards ain't gonna know what hit them.
Navy's been bombing the hell out of the island for 2 days straight. Miller, we hit any resistance on the beach? You get on that radio and call for immediate missile support.
Don't think twice.
Roebuck, I want you up the beach and at that tree line ASAP. You're on point as we move inland.
Got it.
What the hell? Was that one of ours?
Fuck. East Ridge. There's a 200mm on the point.
Stay with it, Marine.
Another LVT's been hit!
Everyone, keep your heads down. You hear
Now
me?
this guy,
20 seconds!
I remember, this guy did a really stupid thing here too. This guy here.
Hang in there, kid.
We need to get off this thing!
Watch what this guy does right here.
Driver,
Look.
drop the ramp. That gun can zero in on us anytime.
It's the coral! We're stuck on the...
Drop
Shouldn't
the
have done that.
ramp!
That was a really dumb thing to do. Those landing craft are meant to protect you from gunfire. They won't protect you from explosives, but they're meant to protect you from gunfire.
We're still in one piece. Plan's gone to shit. Tojo's got a defensive line dug in just beyond the tree line. We got heavy MG fire tearing up the beach.
And also, because we're playing on the historical accuracy mod, make sure you guys also check in the comment section if you want to download it. If you notice, the soldiers have the helmets. A lot of their helmets are different colored, and they're wearing more darker green uniforms.
Call in those rockets.
Raw Salvo HE, Waco 8-1, Azimuth 3-5, range 2-8 on the way.
Good work, Marines. Regroup at the tree line. Move!
Where's the fire coming from?
Don't let him get a fix on you. Move, move.
What the hell went wrong? There wasn't supposed to be any resistance!
That rocket strike should have softened them up.
Stay down! What do we do? Get moving! Find the stars!
Everyone ready? Up and over.
Enemy movement!
Shit. They're
Put
just
him
dazed
down.
from the artillery. And you see like this?
MG nest!
put him out of his misery. This is like what I'm talking about when I say that like Call of Duty World at War is like a horror game. It's like you'll just see somebody just get blown in half because of artillery and they're still alive.
Coordinates received.
Flamethrower, move up!
Target miss. Diligent 1-6, adjust your fire. Repeat,
Fix
adjust your
bayonets!
fire.
Use them if you have to!
This is not good!
Pick it up! Push through their lines!
Flank left around the bunker.
Also, about the Battle of Peleliu, this...
Anti charge!
Oh,
Give it the dummy, man!
They're not gonna hold back. Stay on them.
Fire support ready. Stay your target.
Eye south, another MG.
Miller, take it out!
Bullseye!
Keep it tight! Coming our way!
Target registered. Firing for effect.
this is also way too close for artillery support. Like, way too close, but...
Target hit. 25 seconds.
I'll keep them back.
15 seconds. 10 seconds. 5 seconds.
Cover them up! Reload!
HE barrage available.
Okay, now, about the, what I was trying to say earlier about the Battle of Peleliu is that Peleliu is in the Palau Islands, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, and it's to the closest largest country to it is the Philippines. And, if you're wondering, a lot of people are always curious, why did America fight World War II against Japan like this? Wouldn't it have made much more sense to invade Japan directly? Well, it's because they couldn't. Because the Imperial Japanese Navy was in the way towards Japan, and also America needed a way for their logistics. They needed a place to refuel, rearm, and these islands were the best way. And that's actually why Japan used these islands. These islands were basically bases for Japan to rearm and refuel when they were doing their conquests in the Pacific. Their fleets would stop at these islands. Their planes would land in these islands. Most of these islands had airstrips, and what it was basically called, it was called island hopping, and it was devised by General MacArthur. The idea of it was that the more islands you take, the closer you get to the Japanese mainland, and you also cut off Japan, because when you take the islands, you also take the water that's around the islands too. So the ships can't refuel in that area anymore, and you can clear for more ships to come in and more planes to come through. And so the more islands you take, the closer you get to the Japanese mainland, and then the closer that you get to an actual invasion, and then you can also send planes from these islands and bomb the Japanese mainland directly. That's why Japan defended these islands so fiercely, because they knew that every single time the US took an island, they were getting closer and closer to mainland Japan.
Look alive! They're close!
They're coming over the wall. Stay with me, Miller.
Lock and load! Grenade coming in!
Clear out the trenches. We need cover now.
They're moving in!
Okay, it's an allied
pushing!
tank. Okay, good.
Eyes open!
Right behind you.
Hey, this thing, because this thing is actually,
Another one down.
this is one of the best guns in the game. And also, this gun was one of the best guns in multiplayer in World at War, but almost no one used it in multiplayer in World at War, but I did. This was a great, machine gun. And the sights on this thing are really good. You can see very far with this. This gun does an insane amount of damage, too. Blow that up.
I know they're close!
Sullivan, the tree. What the hell is he doing? Take him down! Good shot, Miller!
Now, what you saw in the trees there, that is actually, historically accurate, is that Japanese snipers and sharpshooters would hide up in palm trees just like that. And about that is, the country that actually had the worst snipers in World War II, in my opinion, are Imperial Japan. And you might be surprised by that. You'd think that an army that fights in an environment like this, fights in the jungles that can use a lot of vegetation, you know, to hide, you would think they would utilize snipers as much as possible, but they didn't. And about the Japanese snipers, Imperial Japan did not have a sniper school where Germany, the Soviet Union, I think even Italy had a sniper school, but Imperial Japan didn't. They actually didn't like the idea of snipers. Oh crap, yeah. And how Japan's Arasaka rifles, they actually developed an 8x scope, which is actually one of the farthest, you know, magnifications of World War II. But despite having a very far-seeing scope, they didn't really utilize snipers that much. So how basically Japan decided who became a sniper is whoever in the squad could shoot the best. So whoever in the squad could shoot the best, they could get a telescopic sight or scope, and the difference between, like, Japanese snipers and, like, a lot of other snipers in World War II is that Japanese snipers were not allowed to choose their positions. Japanese snipers were actually forced to actually go up in these trees, in these palm trees. And the thing is, a palm tree is actually one of the worst places for a sniper to go. It's a terrible, terrible, place. And the reason that it's a terrible place is because the best position for a sniper is a position where the sniper can see the enemy, have a good vantage point on the enemy, but they can also run away really quickly if they need to, because snipers run a lot. Unlike in video games and movies, snipers run. They take shots. When they think they're going to be discovered, they run. They leave the area, they regroup, they go to another place, and, you know, take more shots. Now, Japanese snipers were told by their, you know, superiors they had to go up in these palm trees and sit up there, and they could not leave the palm tree. So even if they got spotted, they're dead. They cannot escape from the tree. Their orders are they cannot leave the tree. If they got down from the tree, they'd be executed. So they were not allowed to leave the tree. You know, you had those little ropes that they used to climb up on the tree. But, yeah, that was basically the idea of it. And here's the thing, is if you had a sniper that was in a palm tree, maybe they could take out, like, 1 or 2 guys. But then once you get spotted, you're dead. You're done. So that was just a really stupid strategy that Imperial Japan used with their snipers.
Japanese infantry! Miller, we gotta take it by surprise. Let's get the jump on these bastards.
And also, one other thing I'll say about the Japanese on this mission. I actually didn't know about this. Oh, he's shooting. Okay, I didn't know about this, but some of the Japanese soldiers on this mission are actually not yelling at you in Japanese. They're actually yelling at you in Indonesian. So the Japanese forcibly conscripted a lot of you know, soldiers from different countries. You know, Indonesia. You know, the Philippines, Korea.
Get down, damn it! We got him! Hit him hard!
And also, the Japanese, you know, the soldiers that were in the Japanese army that were the most likely to surrender were Koreans. And the reason for that is because they were forced into the Japanese army. They didn't want to fight for the Japanese army. If I was Korean, I would have surrendered too. So that's, so Koreans, and on a lot of these, on some of these islands, Americans actually did find Koreans and also Korean laborers. So they were, you know, Koreans that were brought against their will, and they were forced to work. Also, another thing is, if you look at the casualties on Peleliu Island, the casualties on the island are, you know, insane. It's like the vast majority of the Japanese garrison died. Almost all of them died. And in warfare, you almost never see something like that. You don't see in warfare where the vast majority of the enemy dies in a single battle. That really doesn't happen. It's either the rest of them retreat or they surrender. but for almost all of them to die in battle like that, the reason that they almost all died in battle is because, like I said, they would fight till the very end, because in their, culture, they believed that surrender was worse than death. Check what's in here. Oh, I think this was just the other, or is this is another entrance? Yeah, this is another entrance into there.
Machine gun near the broken bunker! Up the ladder! Clear him out! Fire in the hole! Shit, mortar pit behind us. They've got those squads pinned down.
Get on those MGs and tear them up!
Enemy tanks! Call those rockets! They're closing in! We need to cover that! Get down!
Crap, they even throw grenades up here?
Tanks! Call in another rocket strike! Now! Keep on it, Miller!
Hit the dirt! Look out!
Enemy tanks! Call those rockets!
Salvo on target. Salvo on target. Align. See your target. Over. Confirmed.
Outstanding, Marine!
Check your fire. Target
Outstanding!
destroyed.
Good work. All of you.
Everyone, on me.
Rocket barrage available.
What now, Sarge?
Secure the surrounding area. Wait for the Major's orders.
When do we rest?
Soon, Polanski. Soon.
No! Sullivan, no! Hold on, you're gonna be okay! Corpsmen!
It can happen just like that in a blink of an eye.
We're all numb by Sullivan's death. We just never saw it coming. I still can't believe it. Most solid, dependable, and courageous Marine we've ever known. Blink of an eye. Gone. Now it's down to me. And me alone. To lead these men, my brothers, safely through this campaign. AA fire from Peleliu airfield is knocking our planes right out of the sky. Taking this airfield is our only priority. Whatever the cost.
Even if you are the best soldier in the world, you can get unlucky. Something can happen,
Arrangements are being made
and you
to
can
take
die.
the body back to the States.
Just like that. That's
I
what's
thought
scary
Sullivan
about
would
war.
make it through for sure.
We let our guard down, Polanski. We can't let it happen again.
That was one of the most unexpected death scenes
what
that I've
now?
ever seen.
Tojo's got a
Something
tight
like
hold on
that
pretty
that
much
happened
everything
just-
to the west. Direct route runs right into the Japanese guns. We take the flank. It might get us wet, but it's not going to get us killed. We regroup with the 5th when we're through the swamp. Stay sharp.
Poor bastard must have been shot down this morning.
Fuselage is still smoking. Check for survivors.
He's all snarled up on something.
Shit! Grenade!
Get a Corpsman! They're coming this way! Ambush! Keep him back!
It was a trap!
And imagine how disgusting that is, booby trapping the dead body of somebody. That's like one of the most scummiest things that you can do.
I can't believe they booby trap our dead. It's another damn ambush! They're all around!
Keep it tight!
This rifle here, this is the BAR Browning automatic rifle. This machine gun got America through World War I and World War II. And
Sounds like the Fifth's kicking ass.
MG's in
In
the
world-
bunkers up ahead! Bamboo artillery set right in front of it!
On
Private!
me!
Get a grenade up there! Everyone move! Go!
a lot of people say that the BAR is the first assault rifle ever made, but it's not. The BAR does not fire an intermediate cartridge. The BAR fires 30-06. It's the same cartridge that the M1 Garand fires. Now, about the BAR, is the World War II version of the BAR actually has a slower rate of fire. And you're wondering, why would they slow down the rate of fire so that it's more controllable? And the reason the BAR is such a great advancement is because one soldier can carry this and fire this and reload this. Because back then, during World War I, you had like you had to have an entire team to set up a machine gun and fire it, and they were heavy as hell. But this was like a great invention in World War I, that like one soldier could run around and carry it and fire it. America used the French Chauchet before the BAR, but they used the French Chauchet in 30-06, and it was a disaster. It got so muddy, it would jam. The BAR was just so much better when it was made.
Let's find some cover! He's in bad shape!
Oh, and also about the Japanese booby-trapping dead bodies. Did they really do that? Yes. American and Japanese dead bodies, they would booby-trap with bombs. They knew that eventually Americans would pick them up and try to get them out of the way or get the medical attention, see if they're still alive, and stuff like that did happen. And the Japanese did not only booby-trap dead bodies, they booby-trapped themselves. So a common tactic that the Japanese would do is they would actually surrender, and they weren't really surrendering. And the second that, you know, Americans would get near them, they would detonate a grenade or some kind of explosive and blow themselves up. And this happened quite a few times. And this got so out of control that what ended up happening was the American soldiers started executing Japanese soldiers if they surrendered. So, like, if they saw a Japanese soldier surrendering, they would just shoot them. And while that might sound, like, really horrible, the thing is, though, the reason that they were doing that was because they were scared they were going to get blown up, because it just happened so many times before where they would just blow themselves up. And and it's like, would you want to be that soldier that tries to pat them down after they surrendered, get near them, possibly risk yourself getting blown up? So it's horrible. You know, I'm not saying shooting prisoners is ever justified, but I'm just saying is that's why Americans would oftentimes shoot Japanese soldiers that were surrendering, because they were scared of that happening, because it happened before where they would surrender and they would blow themselves up. And you actually see that later in World at War. You actually see one scene of that later in the game, but I don't want to spoil it too much.
Polonsky, give him covering fire!
But let me know in the comments what you guys think of that, what do you think of that? That, like, soldiers would surrender and then blow themselves up, and then, like, Americans were too scared to, like, take them prisoner because they didn't know if they had a bomb or not.
Covering! Reloading!
Look out! Here they come! Right there! By the low wall! Doc! Where's Doc? It's a fucking bunker here! Watch out! They're coming!
Oh, I have smoke grenades. I almost completely forgot about that. The historical accuracy mod also increases damage on a lot of weapons too. So that's if you see the enemies dying quicker, it's because of that too.
Enemy machine gun!
I'll keep him back.
Enemy machine gun!
Everyone on me!
Japanese MG!
Machine gun! I want suppressing fire on those MGs. The flamethrowers need to reach the bunkers.
MG!
Polanski! Reloading!
Crap. And the thing about this is flamethrower operators had the worst job in World War II. Is flamethrower operators only had, like, I think it was like a survival rate of 5 minutes, and that's not an exaggeration. Because when you really think about this, your mobility is limited. You're carrying this giant tank on your back. Now, I don't know much about flamethrowers. Let me know in the comments, guys. If the back of that gets shot, can you actually blow up? If the back of that gets shot, that I don't know. So the one thing I don't know. I know more about firearms, but flamethrowers I really don't know anything about. But that's... Okay, flamethrowers, here we go. You had to get, and also as a flamethrower operator, you had to get really close to them. Think about that too.
Polanski! Dead ahead! Now! Keep it together. Airfield's about half a mile north.
Oh, shit! Bastards just took down another one!
One more reason to keep pushing. Every plane we lose makes our job harder. So let's pick it up and take out those damn guns. Over there!
Shit!
There's more of them! They were just waiting for us!
I do like you can burn down the trees too. I remember that detail. You get a trophy, I'm pretty sure, if you burn a tree that has a Japanese sniper in it.
Enemies hold up in that building!
Oh, you now! Get us out of there!
What's the skinny?
The 7th came in from the north! They're trying to get their tanks onto the airfield, but it's a nightmare over there!
This is also a real building, by the way, at the, this building I'm pretty sure is a real building that was in Peleliu.
Yeah.
And this is also the inspiration for Noctiru Noten in Nazi Zombies.
Follow me.
Japanese MG! Second floor!
Where's Roebuck? Oh, okay.
What do we do? Somebody carry him! Watch him! Cover fire! Reloading! Target destroyed! You hear that? Hear the barrel!
Miller, load up those rifle grenades and blow that damn bird off his perch.
Hell yeah!
Here we go, okay. The M1 Garand did have a grenade attachment, and also remember, the grenades are yellow, and this is not a glitch. This is the mod, the historical accuracy mod, because grenades back then were painted yellow. And you can see why they painted them dark green later. It was a really bad idea to have bright yellow grenades.
Into the building! Don't give them a chance to regroup! Clear them out!
We're stuck! Running! By the sandbag!
I'm on it!
Grenade! Look out! Get your head down! Enemy infantry!
Oh crap.
We've got a man down!
Hope I didn't hit him there. I got flinched.
Reloading! They're closing in! Understood! We're nearly there. Keep it together. One last push and we take the airfield.
Oh, and if you want to know something, I'll tell you guys a World War II fact that's probably going to disturb a lot of people. But flamethrower instruction manuals, when soldiers were taught how to use flamethrowers, their instructions would actually tell them that the flamethrower was a painless death, that the enemy would not be in pain, that they would die really quickly. And you and me watching, we know that that's not true. That's just complete BS. And the reason they lied to flamethrower operators like that is because they wouldn't want to use that, a weapon that would just you know, cause such suffering.
Yeah! This ain't gonna be easy. It never is, but we can do this, Polonsky, okay? Move! Understood!
There's the Japanese tanks, and the Japanese tanks were garbage. I know that they were really bad, but Japan actually did not have the worst tanks of World War II. I think that was actually Italy that had the worst tanks, not Japan, but Japan's tanks weren't the greatest either. But also, I know even though I don't know much about tanks, I do know one thing about the Japanese tanks. The reason Japan had the really light tanks on these islands, like Iwo Jima, Peleliu, Guam, the reason they had light tanks is because the Imperial Japanese Navy did not believe they would need medium and heavy tanks on these islands. They thought that they were a waste of resources. They thought in these small islands, they would just need light tanks, and that was about it. But they didn't expect Americans to come in with medium and heavy tanks when they did amphibious landings. So Japan did have medium and heavy tanks. They had better tanks, but Japan's best tanks were actually not in the island hopping campaign. They were actually in China. So you would see medium and heavy Japanese tanks in China, not in these islands. Also, the bazooka, I know, has a more realistic reload on,
One down. Keep it up, Miller.
it's a little bit, slower.
Not a problem.
Another tank destroyed. Destroyed Type 97 tanks.
Damn good work, Miller.
But I cannot imagine the amount of PTSD that a flamethrower operator would have in World War II, because It's the fact that your life is so much in danger because you have to get so close to the enemy, but also it's the fact that you kill people in such a brutal way that I cannot imagine the PTSD. You saw that in LA Noire, a Pacific, Marine, when he went through extreme PTSD because of his use of the flamethrower.
We need cover now!
Also, as horrible as a weapon the flamethrower was, it did actually help in certain places. So, like, for example, in, like, Iwo Jima, when the Japanese army was, like, in caves, and they really couldn't get them out. I mean, they could throw grenades in, but a flamethrower is much more effective, because the flames are going in, they're gonna have to come out. So that's, flamethrowers would be effective in, like, really tight environments where you can't get the enemy out. But there's a reason that flamethrowers aren't used in combat anymore. They were banned because of just how inhumane they are. Also, I know I'm gonna have some people tell me about the ray gun, that I missed it earlier, but I'll probably get the ray gun when I do a veteran stream, because we'll be messing around in the veteran stream, but I don't want to use the ray gun in, like, a playthrough like this, because we're just focusing on the historically accurate, playthrough.
Japanese infantry!
Crap. I didn't even use one smoke grenade this entire run.
Move up and take out the AA gun! We are taking this airfield today! Get up there! You want more?
Oh. Crap, I almost died there.
Miller, take out the first gun
Wait.
crew. Take it out! 3 more, keep going. Second crew down! Stay strong, we're nearly there. 2 more, move! Get the last one before we lose any more birds. Robot! He's got us cornered! We need some cover! We ain't in one piece no more! We're out of commission! Good night!
And also, I will say for this, that as, even though World at War has, like, a lot of gore in it, if you got directly hit by something like this, like an AA weapon, there would be nothing left of you. It would just be extremely brutal. There'd probably be a puddle left of you.
Oh, shit! Gotcha! Forward! Hey, moving now! Nice work, Marines. Let's give Major Gordon the good news.
Bastards nearly had us.
The airfield has been held.
They'll do whatever it takes.
The airfield
Oh,
has
shit.
been held.
Sarge, we got a problem.
Sir, Japanese reinforcements coming in north of the airfield. Request immediate air support. Yes, sir, understood. Everyone take position. Eyes forward. Stay strong. We are holding this airfield. Polanski,
problem.
get
More
down,
reinforcements.
damn it.
Can you go get in?
They're getting close. Too slow. I'll keep them off you.
Get going!
There's more infantry on their trucks.
Where the hell did all those reinforcements come from? They're bringing up the tanks!
Miller, get on that triple 25. Another one down. They're coming this way.
On them this year! There's a whole damn convoy!
We've got a man down. Another one down.
Here's the generator!
They're taking positions on the tower.
Crap. Okay, yeah.
They're getting close. Got you covered. Keep fire on.
Reloading! Get him out of there!
I can't even get on the gun right now.
Machine gun!
Eat dirt.
Getting closer! I've got a man down!
Damn, yeah, this part, it's just all the tanks coming at you at once. It's I should have kept the bazooka.
Japanese infantry incoming!
They're taking positions on the tower. Keep fire on them.
Holy shit!
Yes, sir. The airfield has been held. Repeat, the airfield has been held.
Okay, so I guess we will wrap this up here, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this part. If you did, drop a like. I know people are really excited for the next part with Vendetta coming up. I'm going to have a Soviet cosplay for that one. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.